This video is to demonstrate how JavaScript works with the web, or how JavaScript works with web applications. All right, so like going over to whatever a student uses to like learn JavaScript, whether it's Free Code Camp or Code Academy or Code Wars or whatever it is, you will do um, like a lot of these stuffs work with strings, work with arrays, manipulation of arrays. You will do conditionals, if statements, if else, and you would work with objects. And then you'd probably do some stuff related to like the new JavaScript syntax. So that's all of this here. But um, what happens is that when you are able to do data manipulation, a lot of data manipulation, um, it's hard to conceive how exactly do you move from this stage to actually like working with websites or working with web applications. How does it come together? So that's what this video is about. So we look at a web app, and let's go over here. So this is a web app that can be used probably by, I don't know, adults or children. So someone can add like a character and the image here, and it displays on a card. So we have some cards here, some of them nice, some of them friendly, and some of them not so friendly. Chucky has a knife. um so going over to the code, if we look at the code, we would see that these cards are not generated by HTML, but these cards are generated by JavaScript. And let's just open the console here. So going over to our code, HTML, and you can see our HTML. We have create a toy, we have Andy needs your help, add a new toy, and that's about it. Okay, so if we go over here, we'd see add a new toy, Andy needs your help, create a new toy. Where does all these cards come from? These cards come from JavaScript. Okay, so going over to our code here, it's our JavaScript file. We use show one, or I use show one to like display one toy or one character on the page. And how I do that is I first look to where I want this card displayed, and if I look to index or my HTML file, there's a div tag with the ID toy collection. I want to put my toy collection inside here. So what I need to do is I need to grab that toy collection div here. So I use document.query selector. Document is our document.query selector. This is a method that the browser would give us, right, to use on the document. And the document is what the browser loads, the contents of the browser. So we have a method here from our browser. Right, we have methods from our browser, and that's what this is what makes working with the web app so strange from working just like with the JavaScript that we saw on like Free Code Camp, where we have like map and for each, and if else, and we have a whole new set when we work with the browser. So this allows me to grab this div, and now I can use this variable toy collection to represent that div. Okay, I hope that's clear. I will not go through all of the code, but just the code to display one card for now. So show one. So I have that card collection div up there. Okay, Um, then what I do is I use another method called create element, and I create a new div. So for every card that I make, I want to put that card into a new div and display all these cards, if it's 10 or 20 cards, inside of the bigger div over here. This is my main div. So then what I do is forget this for now, forget that for now. But I do card. I have the new div here, which is represented by the variable name card. So I do card that in HTML, and here I'm using backticks. Alright, you probably know why. So I do card that in HTML, and I put these stuff inside of my card div. So I want a h2 with toy.name in there. I want an image. I want the image URL here, which is represented by toy.image. I want the number of likes that the toy has, and I want a button there. Right? So I do that for every single one. Then what I do is the big div. I take the big div, then I do dot append child, and I put the card in it, which is a div that I just made with all this stuff in it. So I stick every one of these into the big div called toy collection, and that's it. And that's how the cards get displayed. Now I don't call show one for each toy. What I would do is I have one method being called here, which is called fetch it. And fetch it, what fetch it does, where is fetch it? Fetch it would get the objects. Fetch it would get the objects from the server, and fetch it would also call show all. And what show all would do is show all will do a for each over all the toys, and on each toy it will call show one, and that's how show one is eventually being called. Right? So that's basically it. And again, if we look at our index.html, we have one div which is empty, and if we go over to our web app, we can check here, and if we check here, we would see our main div, and our main divs has 10 other divs which contain 10 cards. So you can see all these cards here are not in our HTML file, but these cards have been generated from our JavaScript file. So that's how JavaScript works with the web, or with the web browser. And this was a question that I had: how does it even work with the browser? And I couldn't find a answer or an example. So here's an example for whoever had the question that I had.